Hey, good afternoon. This is Matt with Ridge Rovers. Often I get questions about where are the most critical areas on a Range Rover Classic to check for rust. Today, we're going to take a look at the front floorboards of this Classic we have for sale. I have not opened these up just yet, so we're going to do that for the first time today. But basically walk you through how to check this critical area on both sides of the floorboards to check for any rust or rot. So grab a Phillips screwdriver and notice here on the threshold, right where you'll need to take a piece of plastic off, and we'll start there. Alright, to get started, you need a Phillips head screwdriver. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 locations here that need to be removed. Many times, Classics that have been exposed to a lot of water in this area, these screws will be harder to remove. Typically, they'll be rusted in place. Fortunately, this truck looks to have had no water in this area, which is always a good thing. So with those 4 screws removed, we're going to simply gently lift this piece here, set it aside, and as you can see, this area is going to be your first indication of any serious rot or rust. So what I like to do is roll up this carpet padding, and just as a little information here, Land Rover and Range Rover were thinking ahead when they wanted to make sound deadening in these vehicles. These vehicles ride usually super quiet inside, and part of the reason why the floors can rot out from the top down is because this foam matting they put here is like a sponge, and if water was coming in the vehicle either from the sunroof drains or just basically, sloppy feet, anything, this foam would soak up every bit of that water and rot these vehicles from the top down. So as you can see here, we do have a little bit of surface rust. It looks like these mats were wet at one time. You can see here where the surface met the carpet and has stained it. And we will continue to pull this area back and take a deeper look. Now, if you can see this area here, we do have some surface rust. It looks to be very slight. The area is dry, which is a good thing. There is a little bit of noted moisture in here, and like I said, a lot of times that can be from usually these sunroof drains clogged up and causing water to run down the A-pillar. But on this vehicle, it appears that everything is very solid, which is always a good sign because these are the most expensive areas to have to cut out and fix. I usually take a screwdriver and I'll press down super hard on any truck that I'm inspecting to make sure that, in fact, there is no rust or rot. And then the further you can pull these back, the better. So the good news here is, despite the fact that we have a little bit of surface corrosion on the top, it is not broken into the integrity of the metal. And as you go further back into the floorboards, you can actually see it looks actually better than it does over here on this side. But as I was showing before, a lot of force down on the screwdriver, no areas that are soft, and that's what you want to look for when you're purchasing a Range Rover Classic. Same process on the other side. We'll go over there and take a look at that one here in just a few minutes. As you can see over here, I've got this trim piece up. I pulled our carpet back, and very pleased to see very little, if any, corrosion whatsoever. This footwheel looks excellent. The carpet is dry, the matting is dry, and the floors in turn are very solid and very dry as well. I will pull these back and get some closer photos for you to check out. But in my opinion, one of the most important places to check a Range Rover Classic, if anything is ever soft, you'll know it. You'll push your hand down, the floors will cave down, and then at that point you know you have to do a floor replacement. Alright, the next place we check for corrosion and rust is actually here in this door jamb. As you can see, we have a wheel arch right in this area. Typically very prone to rust right in this area here in this seam. If it looks solid up top, it's always good to go underneath here and check to see that the actual seat belt anchor underneath this wheel well is actually in place and very sound. I'll take a picture of that here in a few minutes, but you always want to check on both sides of the doors here. Very commonplace for rust and corrosion. Alright, that brings us to the tailgate. So back here, tailgate glass, another area you want to check. All through these major reinforcement areas, this one is extremely clean. Typical just tiny rust spots just from like surface moisture, but no rot, no rust even whatsoever, all across and all the way down. So very solid window frame. It's original. It's not one of the aluminum replaced ones, so looks really good there. And the final area I always like to check, take your tailgate down. The tailgate hinges right here, very prone to rust and rot. Pull up your seals and your gaskets. You can kind of see under here. This one is extremely clean. There's not even any hint of surface corrosion. And then you can also pull up the carpet in the back and take a sneak peek and see this is a telltale sign right here too if you're going to have any other suspicious rust in the area. So I'll pull this up, take a look at it, but from what I can see so far, pretty impressed here. Not even any spot corrosion or anything. Pretty easy, pretty simple to pull these places apart. Very critical when checking out a Range Rover Classic. This is just one of the areas that you don't want to have surprises and have to fix down the road. So this door is actually mounted to the rear cross member here. You can shut that and take a look down here at your body mounts. Everything looks really super clean. This is a fantastic truck with very minimal surface rust. This was definitely a truck that I would want to purchase. There's so many out there that have corrosion in these areas and are very costly to fix.